And we heard from President Biden yesterday. He had not yet read the written response from the Russians. Assuming that he has now, has that changed his assessment at all about the possibility of diplomacy?
I think Josh asked a similar question, but I would just say I don't have an update on the internal discussions about the Russian response, other than to convey that, as our Secretary of State noted yesterday, he has accepted the offer to, or he will be engaging, I should say, with his counterpart, his Russian counterpart, on Wednesday, unless, of course, they invade. And there will continue to be a range of diplomatic discussions. I think the Secretary of State was also very clear yesterday about the fact that we believe that Russia is positioned to attack Ukraine. They, of course, could change their mind, or they could decide not to, and we are going to keep the door to diplomacy open, as we should. But again, there's no new assessment beyond what the Secretary of State said yesterday, which was quite forward-leaning, as I think you would all agree. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Has the U.S. in any way conveyed to Ukraine that it should not respond to the provocations by Russia? We're obviously seeing the increased shelling that's happening right now.
And they have not, I think, as you have seen. I think we have been speaking vocally and privately, of course, about our expectation of these types of provocations, and what their intended purpose is. I mean, whether their intended purpose is to create confusion, whether it is to create irritation, whether it is to prompt a response, obviously that would not be a positive step at this point in time.
And so you have conveyed that privately to the Ukrainians?
We have conveyed that certainly in a range of ways.
Okay, and let me just, if I could, go back to the meeting between the Secretary of State and Lavrov that may happen next week. What gives the administration hope that there's still a path for diplomacy when the president has said that an invasion is all but certain to happen in the next few days?
Well, we hope we're wrong. We hope that if Russia doesn't invade, we will be relieved. That would certainly be a good outcome. But at the same time, what's the alternative? Us not to say, well, we will agree to diplomacy? Or diplomatic opportunities?
Any assurances from Russian officials that they won't invade until Lavrov meets with Secretary Blinken?
Again, Kristen, I think as we've said in the past, I mean, it's not just about what is said. They've said that publicly. It's about what they do. And so we continue to believe that they are positioned to invade Ukraine. If they decide not to, that is certainly a positive step. And we have a responsibility to the global community, to Ukrainians, to leave the door to diplomacy open.
If I could try one more time on Zelensky, we do have reporting that a number of administration officials are concerned about him leaving at this critical moment. Obviously, he's also scheduled to meet with the vice president. Has anyone in this administration conveyed directly to Zelensky that there are concerns about him leaving right now?
I'm just not going to detail any private diplomatic conversations. But again, I'd reiterate, it's a decision that is up to him to make. Is what we convey privately as well. And regardless of what decision he makes, he will remain. He will have the support of the United States. Go ahead.
On the Blinken-Lavrov meeting, does the administration see this as a precursor to some kind of leaders' summit, or perhaps a phone call between the president and Putin, or a face-to-face meeting?
Well, I think where we are right now is that, we're unclear. We're ready to engage in diplomacy, but it's unclear if the Russians are going to sit down in good faith. And of course, if while we are doing everything we can to prevent war, and including having the Secretary of State willing to engage further with his Russian counterpart, I don't think we can get ahead of the process or ahead of where things stand, which is our continued belief that they are positioned to attack Ukraine.
In